this is going to be the killer, and here's how I'm going to plant him in the story, and this is where he's going to show up or she's going to show up, and here are the different things, here are the different suspects, the different, the different ways I can kind of pull the wool over the reader's eyes. And so I plan all that in advance, and then I submit the outline to my editor at Kensington, and he's like, yeah, good, I like this. If you could only do this and this, and then he'll have some suggestions, and then I write the book. And so when he gets the final book, he pretty much knows where it's going, and so there's no surprises. In a good way, there's no surprises. There's no like, oh, where did that idea come from? He really knows, where I'm going, so we really very rarely have to do much rewriting at all. I usually takes only a few hours for me to do the rewrites he asks. I have my other friends who are writers, they're like, oh, I had to change my heroine to a hero. I had to change the, I had to kill off the wife early, and I have to rewrite all these chapters. It's like, because their editor doesn't like some part of it. So it really works for me to have a solid outline. And by outline, I mean just sort of a mini version of the book. I don't have like point one, blah, 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 A, B, C. I don't do that. I do like, it's a dark and stormy night, and blah, 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 blah. So I do have like sort of a Reader's Digest version of what the book will be.
I would think too, with history thrown in, like with your recent new book that's going to come out,
Yes.
that you'd have to have your.
What book are you talking about, Sue?
I'm sorry. We reversed this and I blew it.
We have to keep naming it. We have to keep
The
saying
Enemy at
my book,
Home.
The Enemy at Home. You mean The Enemy at Home, Sue? I'm so obnoxious.
My nose, Kevin. The Enemy at Home. I would think you'd have to, you had to do. You said you were doing the research. You'd have to keep your facts and make sure that this didn't exist in this. They didn't have. They had radios. They didn't have television.
Yes. No one's making
and the
a cell
street
phone
didn't
call.
exist then.
Yes. Oh, because you know what? Mystery readers are the worst as far as catching you on something, because they're looking for clues and everything else. And so if you have something that's a little off and it's it's very just not working, it doesn't go with the time. There's a word. It's not. Is it anachronism? No. What is the word that?
I think that's.
I'm having a senior moment. Is it anachronism?
No, I think we're all going. Yeah, I think so. Well, yes, it takes place in Seattle, and you can't say. And the Amazon truck drove by.
Oh, yeah. Yes. You can't have anybody on their
Didn't
cell
exist
phone.
then.
Yes. Oh, there was so many times that I was sort of stifled by, and this was one of the historical issues that I had, is that we know now about things that they didn't know at the time. And so, like, for example, it's 1943 in my book, and Corregidor happened with the Baton Death March, that really, just horrific event in history, but we didn't know about it until 1944. So there were things, for example, even the Holocaust. I couldn't, that we didn't know about the death camps. So there were rumblings about it from that leaked, but everyone, it was quite a shock that we didn't know until late 1944 for sure that this was going on. So things like that I want to make reference to, I realized I couldn't. One of the things that was most frustrating, and I found fascinating, was as I mentioned earlier, we were afraid in Seattle. We were afraid of the Japanese bombing Seattle, and the Boeing plant in particular would have been a perfect target. So they made a roof that looked like it was a village, and they had burlap trees and plywood homes, and they were all sort of just mid-sized. They were all like not really that's the right size, but they were just all a facade, and the whole village was there on the roof. so that from the air it looked like you were bombing just a town, sort of a quiet, sleepy street.
That's really cool.
I know. So if you go online and you look up Boeing fake roof, you'll see pictures of these women standing by a house that's about the size, comes up to about their head. They had a Hollywood set designer design it, and I wanted so bad to incorporate it in the story, but the roof wasn't completed until 1944, which, we go, well, that's kind of late in the game, but we thought we'd be in the war until 1946, 47 because of the invasion of Japan.
I commend you though for sticking to it, because some people take liberties, because we have had some authors, and they're well-written book, and the one spoke here in person and even admitted that this didn't take place, but she wanted, because of that reason, she wanted to include it in the story to make it a little more, fast forward a little, and I wouldn't have known the difference because I wasn't familiar with the story she was telling. That's the other beauty. A lot of these stories we didn't know about them, and they're coming out.
Right.
But at the same time, when you're a history buff and you really, it's
Oh,
like, no,
yes. Well,
don't take
history.
liberty.
I know I'm probably going to get corrected. I'll admit it right now. One of my big difficulties. I should have just talked to someone at Boeing, but was trying to get the exact time for the shifts, and I knew they had 3 shifts, but I wasn't sure what the shifts times were. And I did read in one book that one shift ended at 10, but I wasn't sure if that was correct, and I wasn't sure if they were like 8 hours, 7.5 hours, when lunch was. I had to. I guess. Yeah. So I did kind of have to kind of wing it a couple of, when in doubt, fake it. Churning out a book a year, you get used to kind of doing the shortcuts. It's like, okay, I've never been to Los Angeles. Where is this? And so I'll go on Google and look at maps, and I'll look at real estate to see what the houses are like, and I'll look at the city website to see, what their main industries are and where their recreational places are. But, often you have to take the Google shortcut.
I can understand that.
You must miss, I don't know, you were too young for Ready Reference to call up the library. That would be the first thing. It's like, we can't figure out who starred in On the Waterfront and who was that character. I'm going to call up the library.
We still get those kind of questions.
Oh, you do?
And it's like, but luckily we have Google, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, welcome to the 21st century.
South Carolina, and I'm on vacation. Could you tell me where like, what the heck? You call me on your cell phone. Hello. It's like, yeah. Yeah. But I hear you. Well, we're running out of time, but it's really flown by. It's been great.
Oh, thank you. You guys have been great. Are we giving away books?
I'm gonna do that a little later.
Do that later? So okay, for the people who are there.
I don't have enough to give around to everybody. It's just too hard. So
you're just your favorites, your favorite people.
Right. You had to come to the library.
Oh, your relatives. They're all gonna be relatives too. It's like, oh,
my friend in Seattle's
getting one. You didn't know that she's my sister-in-law?
I'm getting one.